Okay, so granted, I'm a little late to the TSA story, and everybody's been talking about it. I haven't, but it wasn't until, I don't know, maybe a couple days ago that I realized I could have been the one to break the story. I could have been that don't touch my junk guy because I actually had my own abuse story with TSA. I think on the first day that they started the new rule. What happened? Well, first of all, let me say that, well, number one, I don't know how to tell this story and not offend some people. But number two, junk. I mean, who had you ever heard that term before? I've never heard somebody refer to their private parts as junk. So my first reaction was, ugh, I don't really like that guy. And like the church ladies used to say, God didn't make no junk, honey. And I guess the only other thing I could think was the old saying that says one man's junk is another man's treasure. But, that's not my thing. But love is beautiful however it comes. So I didn't really think about it much. But then I realized that I had a TSA groping story that was probably, it was bad or worse than most. But now I'm late. Everybody's come forward with their stories after the junk guy. If I were to try to make a big deal of it, I'd be like that eighth or ninth woman who came forward to say she had sex with Tiger Woods. I mean, it's just too late. Just how many cocktail waitresses can make headlines with the same story, and in this story, I guess I'm just the cocktail waitress who's a little too late. But I think it was the first day actually that they had this new rule because I'd flown to New York. I was flying back, and they made me get into this machine that looked like what the prototype for the transporter in Star Trek One, probably looked like. And I have bad ears because old rock and rollers get bad ears if they didn't wear ear protection when they were playing in bands. So she said something to me. The lady, very surly lady, as we know they can be, said something to me about lifting your hands, and so I lifted my hands, and she said, "No, like this," and I did it like this, and then she said something that I thought was "put your hands down," so I put my hands down, and she said, "Okay, that's it, non-compliant." So I got herded over to this place where two guys were standing there, one very young and one older. And the older guy was really nasty, and the young one was doing the pat down. And he did it actually, I mean, I don't think he was digging it much. And he kept saying, now what I'm about to do is feel your leg up to the groin area. And now what I'm about to do is feel your genital area. And, it reminded me of that big controversy back in the 90s when Antioch College put out rules for undergraduate sex where the guy or whoever initiating any move had to say, now I'm about to touch you here. Is that okay? With the difference being, of course, that it didn't matter if it was okay or not. If I wanted to get on the plane, I had to consent. And at one point, this guy left. I don't know, he had to do something, and I was just left with the older guy. And it was about a 10-minute wait, and I was kind of tired. So I said, "Do you mind if I sit down?" And he said, "You'll sit down when he tells you to sit down." So that was actually probably worse than the pat down. But then he came back and went through the whole experience. It was it was unpleasant. But to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't get as upset about this as other people do, and I think it's fascinating that this has created the big revolt against the national security state. Not all the other things that have been done, but this. I mean, I guess the message I can get out of it is that the way Americans feel about national security is you can trash my Constitution in the name of fighting terrorism, and that's okay. The president can order an American citizen killed while at the same time pardoning a turkey, and that's okay. We can start extraordinarily expensive and futile wars that kill Americans and people overseas alike, and breed a new generation of angry terrorists all around the world, and that's okay. You can break the bank, creating a military intelligence complex that pays billions of dollars to companies like Rudy Giuliani's, while we have a nation desperately in need for that money here at home. And that's okay. But touch my dick, and there's going to be a revolution. It's interesting when you think about it. Thanks a lot. I'm going to sign off now.